Kazoo is a repository for multidimensional information which includes technologies, applications, business processes, access rights, and various training resources. You can find Kazoo under featured links in the TDBU portal or by searching for Kazoo in the portal's search box. No matter where you go in Kazoo, the top navigation bar will easily lead you back to one of the main pages. All of our repository information is split into 4 sections. The first data dictionary section is used by query writers and runners. This section has proven itself to be one of the most integral parts for BI reporting. The role mapping and onboarding section covers various access rights and transactional information for both SAP and its bolt-ons in the form of comprehensive templates. These templates identify key pieces of information used by managers and other end users for onboarding purposes. The integration tool has process flows pertaining to SAP R3 implementation. It also has information on enterprise tools and their application within those business processes. This helps identify integration points between projects and their impacts on various systems, business processes, and organizations. The fourth section, the training and procedures section, is focused around training and step-by-step procedural information based on their corresponding business processes. On to queries. The query table contains the query names, descriptions, and other key high-level pieces of information. Drill down on any query to find further details, including fields associated with that query, access rights, and its designated subject matter experts. The query table also links to BIRS, BIRDS, and TDSs associated with each query. Multi-providers. The multi-provider table contains each multi-provider name and its description. Clicking on any multi-provider takes you to its detailed page containing the queries utilizing that multi-provider and the fields associated with it. This also includes a one-on-one mapping between fields and their dimensions. The field table contains all SAP BI KPIs associated with their technical objects and descriptions. Drilling down reveals further information on each field. Clicking on its correlating multi-provider, query, access right, and transaction link gives you details on them as well. These fields associated with their function within each business process will give measurable context to process performance. The Helpful Resources page contains a Kazoo to-go report in XLS format. This workbook acts as a resource for various analytical needs. The SAP Help link takes you to the SAP Help portal, which contains useful information related to SAP and specifically SAP R3. Use your Windows logon to access the BI technical metadata when the need arises. One way to access the search feature is by clicking on the Search Kazoo link here. The second and faster way is to follow the search site link on the banner shortcut. Type in your search criteria and view your result. Email us your feedback and suggestions by clicking on the feedback/inquiries link at the bottom.
Next up, we're going to cover the role mapping and onboarding section, which first we'll start with the roles, which are the access rights for the various systems, whether it be SAP or the bolt-ons. We're going to dive into an SAP role called EAM All Displayer, which pretty much provides display view for various aspects of SAP. So first you're going to see kind of the various transactions or functions that you can execute with this access right, whether or not the access right requires mandatory training before you receive it, the various templates that receive this access right, and what processes require it to be able to actually execute the process. With R3, one of the big changes for TDBU was the use of notifications. So we're actually going to click on IW23, which is the display transaction for viewing an individual notification. As Kazoo is an integrated system, you'll actually see the fields, which are from the data dictionary side. So these various fields show up in IW23 under the notifications. This helps in moving us towards understanding how data is being transformed and where it's being transformed, as well as then you see what processes are using this transaction as well. That's one way of viewing transactions. The other is you can simply click on the contents page, and from the contents page click on the transactions list, and from here do a simple Control F and type in, as an example, IW22, which is the change notification transaction in SAP. With IW22, you'll notice that there's more than one access right that provides the user the ability to update notifications. Again, like IW23, you'll see that all of the various processes that use IW22 are shown here. Next, let's cover the org role templates. These templates cover various audiences across all of TDBU. These templates are broken out by business line, SIP title, a particular department, and whether or not they perform a unique function. So let's actually click on one of them that was hit pretty hard in R3, which was the CMA field accountants. So let's go over the FAO accountants that specifically are focused around the distribution space. You'll notice the initial kind of organizational structure, what training modules were required as it related to R3. So not only do they have the training modules, but they also have the access rights required to be able to perform their job. So this is a list of all of the access rights that a CMA that covers the distribution space needs to be able to perform their work. The intent of these templates was not only just to be able to provide what access rights someone would need, but also what software and hardware they would also require as part of onboarding or when they move or change positions. So that way it kind of takes some of the guessing game away from the hiring manager on what their folks need. Like the About Me section in Portal, these templates were also intended to provide the end user a place to go to for the procedures, the reference guides, the job aids that just pertained to the individual. That way they didn't have to go searching for anything that pertained to them. Like the transaction section, you'll also notice a part of the template that has the various processes that pertain or that are being performed by a CMA. As you can tell by the extensive list, it's quite a bit of work that they have on their plates. Next, we're going to cover the integration tool section of Kazoo. This is where you're going to find all of your R3 process flows, different information about some of the applications that were affected by R3, as well as some program project information. Now, this program project information had kind of stopped being maintained while we were supporting R3, but it's been our intent as we get back into kind of our maintenance mode and we look at supporting the maintenance and enhancement process, we would update this information. Now, the advantage of this particular section is it provides the program's projects not only just here's the various areas in terms of processes and different organizations and various applications that you're impacting, but also the integration points or the various touch points with other projects. So it kind of helps take a little bit of the guessing game away, or where you kind of need to hone in and have those detailed conversations across the various projects. Now let's get into some of those R3 process flows. This time, however, I'm going to use the navigation bar to click on the process flows link that'll jump us right into the list of the various process flows. Let's click on the distribution priority 1 process so we actually look at an example of a process flow on Portal and how it looks. Now the process flows on Kazoo are interactive, meaning that when you click on the graphic, it'll actually respond in some way, whether that means taking you to a lower level diagram or providing a particular bit of information about a process. They also have a little bit of a scroll bar that allows you to kind of see the whole graphic. That way, for some of the larger diagrams, you don't have to get your magnifying glass to read the process. So in clicking on Enter Transformer Serial Number, we get more information about this process. So this kind of drives you into some of the details that we've been capturing in R3. So here as an example, you've got some detailed description on kind of more about what you're supposed to do with this particular process, whether or not a particular enhancement or interface is being used or affecting this process, what system is used to execute this process, who would be performing it. These are your various templates you saw earlier. Again, you see that CMA FAO for distribution. Also, what access rights are required to be able to perform this process, and then the actual transaction you need or that you would use in SAP for this example to be able to go into the system and enter the transformer serial number. So let's go ahead and click on that CMA FAO distribution. Now that we're looking at CMA FAO distribution again, you can click on some of the applications. So we'll click on SAP as an example, and it takes you to the screen that kind of refers, here's all to SAP. So here's all the various processes, as you can see quite a bit that are leveraging or in some way being performed in SAP. So last section to cover is the training and reference guide material information. So as we discussed earlier, the end user can go to their template and pull up their procedure or their reference guide, which is one way that you can pull up that information. The other way that you can pull up the reference guide is by going to the final section in Kazoo, where you can click on reference guides and training material, and that information is also sorted by business line. So here we'll click on FAO, and you can get right back to the course that pertain to FAO that pulls up that compatible unit job A.
In conclusion, if you have access to the portal, you have access to Kazoo. Kazoo is a one-stop shop for people, process, technology, and reporting information. The integrated information can be viewed from different perspectives to meet different user needs.